What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. I got a little bit of extra for you. It is July 8th, 2022. I am JD from New York, as always, coming to you from the OTS Beer Garden. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on your Friday afternoons, wherever you may be. Vince McMahon, once again, if he wasn't already in hot water, once again in hot water with additional information breaking this morning from an exclusive from the Wall Street Journal. Kind of fishy that all of this information is coming out, and it's got me wondering who the inside source is. Is this an inside job within WWE on the board of directors? Obviously, somebody knows a ton of shit that they're just shilling off to the Wall Street Journal. I got the latest on Vince McMahon, and it ain't looking pretty. $12 million more to 4 different women to suppress sexual misconduct allegations, one of which was an ex-WWE female performer. So we're going to go over that today on OTS Extra. Also, Sasha Banks actively being erased by WWE. I don't know why, but WWE is going to the lengths to erase everything about Sasha Banks within World Wrestling Entertainment. And a major update on Sasha Banks and Naomi and their Instagram and Twitter profiles no longer reflecting that they are WWE superstars, and now they are both professional wrestlers. And I got news on another SummerSlam match being announced and when the next NXT Premium Live event, if you guys care. But it could actually correlate with what we saw on Tuesday night and this very cryptic QR code that was released on Tuesday. It may have something to do with a rebirth or something to do with the next NXT Premium Live event. All that plus so much more right here on Off the Script. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Also TikTok and now Cameo. Links for everything social media-wise is down in the description below. Make sure you guys go hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys very much for helping us get as close as we can, quicker than ever, to 135,000 subscribers. Also, turn on that bell for all notifications so you know when I do upload and you know when I do go live. Also, make sure you guys go and check out everything that you might have missed on the channel. Everything you need is linked on the homepage. Monday Night Raw, AEW Dynamite. We did a major extra on Sasha Banks yesterday, so go check all that stuff out. And make sure you hit the thumbs up. 1,000 likes minimum today on OTS. Let's start with Sasha Banks, and then we'll get into the Vince McMahon stuff. Sasha Banks is actively being erased from WWE history. It's pretty clear now that WWE doesn't think that things will be worked out with Sasha Banks, and an edit on one of their YouTube videos reflects this statement. WWE recently posted a top 10 moments for Paige, who just gave a very heartfelt goodbye to everybody on social media, to the Players Tribune, I believe it was. Go and read it. It was very, very heartfelt and sincere. So this was a top 10 about Paige, who obviously was not let go by WWE, but they let her contract expire, and she's due to do whatever she wants. She's free to do whatever she wants from this point on. One of the moments in this video included was from 2017 when Paige returned to Monday Night Raw. The original video showed Sasha Banks, but the edited clip that WWE doctored up shows a close-up shot of Mickie James, and there's no sign of Sasha Banks. You guys can go find the video. If I remember, I'll link it down below in the description of this video. It's worth noting that sometimes WWE.com and their social media team will sometimes be proactive in these cases, and they will make edits on their own when a wrestler leaves on bad terms, rather than waiting on management to give the directive. So this could be something that was decided by the digital team. However, Vince McMahon has a history of writing off wrestlers that leave the company on unfriendly terms, so this could be something he wanted to be done, and he just passed it along to the digital media team. Banks and Naomi also updated their Instagram bios, and they are no longer referring to themselves as WWE superstars. Their bios now say that they are professional wrestlers. This is not great news if you are a fan of Naomi and you are a fan of Sasha Banks, missing them on WWE TV, wanting them to be back on WWE TV. But the good news for fans wondering if they will continue to wrestle, clearly they're giving you an indication that they are still professional wrestlers. Wrestling is still on both Naomi and Sasha Banks' mind. PW Insider. We talked about this yesterday. I just want to go over this again briefly. If you guys did not catch that video yesterday, PW Insider reported earlier yesterday that Banks and Naomi were removed from the internal WWE rosters sometime within the last 24 to 36 hours. This news about their exit is not a total surprise because it was reported a few weeks ago that Banks had her attorneys involved to work out the details of her WWE release. It is unknown what the terms are for her release from WWE, if there is or isn't a non-compete involved, or if she will be free to sign with any wrestling company after she is officially released from WWE and they give word that it is a done deal. Dave Meltzer reported and backed up these claims, saying that in the Wrestling Observer, Banks and her attorneys were still working on her release, and while there have been reports that she had been released, Meltzer states that no WWE sources have indicated that to be the case. Raj Giri has been very vocal about this. He broke the news at the very beginning and then took to Twitter and said that Sasha Banks was released on June 10th. So I don't know what this all means, and obviously it is still a wait and see game. This is what WWE does. It's petty and it's bullshit, and every single time I mention how WWE disrespects their history, they are never in the wrong about anything. They are completely in the wrong in this case, in the Sasha Banks and Naomi situation. They don't know that they're in the wrong, and the fucking geeks online, the e-drones online, they'll point blame at Sasha Banks and Naomi for being unprofessional. But I mean, you can't use that term now with whatever's going on with Vince McMahon. You are not allowed to use that term unprofessional or the meaning of that word for Sasha Banks and Naomi. Give me a break. Sasha Banks is one of the most vital parts of the birth of the women's revolution in WWE. The fact that you want to go out there and erase her, I don't think that is fair at all. Because without her, without Bayley, without Paige, without Tenille Dashwood at that moment, women like that would not honestly be celebrated in what we see now as far as women's wrestling in WWE. They are everything that is the birth of women's wrestling now, the way we see it in WWE. Obviously, it has taken a turn for the worse. It is not good. There are great performers in that division that are being haphazardly booked because of shit creative. This is what happens when you have management that doesn't actively give a shit about women's wrestling. The fact that Sasha Banks is being disrespected, and this is not the only time. Bianca Belair was just recently interviewed by Sports Illustrated, and she had a fumble over her words because I know she was given a directive if it comes up, if WrestleMania last year comes up, if that main event match with Sasha comes up in question, we do not want you to mention Sasha Banks. All that did was further prove that WWE and Sasha Banks are nowhere near a deal to reconcile this and that she may be on her way out. Bianca looked like a fool because she didn't mention the other woman that she was in the main event with. Bianca didn't main event WrestleMania all by herself. She wasn't the only black female in the main event of WrestleMania last year that made history. This is what WWE does. They're petty. They look stupid. They make others look stupid because they want to be in the right. And Sasha Banks and Naomi and whoever is on the receiving end needs to be in the wrong. And I mentioned this yesterday. They got actively removed from the internal WWE roster. That's a big sign. Sasha Banks is now taking independent booking signings away from WWE. Somebody on the level of superstar that is Sasha Banks would never be allowed to do that without WWE permission. I don't even think anybody on that roster is able to do that, no matter where you are up here or how low you are on the WWE totem pole. It's not something that they allow their roster to do. And then they go and change their social media bios on Instagram from WWE superstar to professional wrestlers. you can see that all of this is trending in one way and not in the WWE direction. I'm glad. We may be on the verge of one of the biggest WWE releases of all time, and I will be here to cover it all when it does inevitably happen. I'm glad she's sticking to her guns. It seems that's what it looks like. She's sticking to her guns, and I've said it once. I'm going to say it again. If there was ever a time to leave, it is now. If she doesn't leave, she will never leave. This is a great move. She is a game changer. Where she goes, I don't care. Where she goes, I'll be watching. Same thing for Naomi. So we'll see what happens here, and I'll keep you guys updated on what's going on. Moving on, man. Tentative plans for the NXT Premium Live event coming up this August. WWE previously held Stand and Deliver at the beginning of April, WrestleMania weekend, and then In Your House in June. In the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer reported that WWE is tentatively planning a major NXT show for late August, with 8/20 or 8/27 being looked at as possible dates. Like AEW, NXT has held several TV specials such as Halloween Havoc, and most recently this past Tuesday with the Great American Bash. Instead of putting these specials on Peacock, they air on weekly NXT 2.0 television, which airs on the USA Network. Braun Breaker on Tuesday defeated Cameron Grimes, and Carmelo Hayes defeated Grayson Waller, both for their respective championships. The days of TakeOver are sadly over, but we don't know. We don't know what is coming with Triple H holding a meeting at the Performance Center a couple weeks ago, claiming that he's back. We got this QR code cryptic message on Tuesday, which gave you the numbers 8.10.11. I don't know what that means. It could be a return. It could be a return of the old NXT. It could be a return of Triple H taking over from Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon and current management. It could be something along the lines of TakeOver coming back, or WWE moving back into Full Sail University to give it that old school NXT black and gold vibe. We don't know, but it's got a lot of people talking. Nobody knows. There are a bunch of rumors and innuendo out there. Nobody knows what it is, but I miss TakeOver. I hope that Triple H does take creative control again. I hope that that man's presence is once again present on Tuesday night. When I know that happens, I will let you know, because you'll all feel it. Right now, Triple H is not involved. Bruce Pritchard is still actively in control of NXT 2.0, and he's got Shawn Michaels on strings running the show, thinking that, the fans think that Shawn Michaels is running the show. No, Shawn Michaels is not in charge. Shawn Michaels may think he's in charge, but Bruce Pritchard ultimately is the end-all, be-all in NXT. I hope that with Stephanie involved and now the interim CEO, that this does mean great things for NXT. Again, nobody knows. But tentative plans right now for a major NXT show. Major and NXT have not been thrown in the same sentence in a very long time. So it's going to be very interesting to see what comes of this premium live event, scheduled for either August 20th or August 27th. WWE has booked the Usos versus the Street Profits for SummerSlam. They announced this as early as this afternoon. This is a rematch from Money in the Bank. The Usos picked up the win in a match I would say was match of the night at Money in the Bank. And they did so in controversial fashion because Montez Ford's shoulder was up when the referee counted the pinfall. I was thinking maybe it was a botch, but clearly it was something that WWE had planned by design to give us a rematch at SummerSlam. Seeing how great that match was, the fact that this match is being booked again, I don't mind. I don't know how we get there. WWE has given us literally every iteration of a match between Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, and Jimmy and Jey Uso. So I don't know how we get there without these two teams getting involved in matches again like we've seen on television leading into SummerSlam. As previously reported, WWE management wants to push Montez Ford as a single superstar, and we know what happens to Angelo Dawkins at that point. He will be, quote-unquote, Janetti'd. This comes at a time when WWE's teased some tension between Ford and Dawkins, leading to speculation that they could be splitting up the tag team very soon. WWE will hold SummerSlam on Saturday, July 30th, from the Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. Obviously, I will be here to cover it all. Whether I'm here in the office or I'm there in person, I will be covering SummerSlam regardless of where I am. I don't want the Street Profits to break up. I think WWE is a little foolish, a little haphazard in that, but I'm not going to stop them. Everybody knows Montez Ford has gotten in the best shape of his life. Everybody knows Montez Ford is going to be the breakout guy for that. They need superstars, and they feel like if they have him now and he's hot as he is now, why not go and do it? But what does that mean for Angelo Dawkins? They are stronger together, and if they are broken apart, Montez Ford will be put in a position where he can grow to be stronger, even stronger than he is now, but Angelo Dawkins is going to suffer. And that's not fair because Angelo Dawkins is good in his own right. He's a very, very good wrestler and a complementary partner to Montez Ford. You take Montez Ford away from him, what does he have? He is basically going to be Tucker Knight of Heavy Machinery, while Otis is now paired with Gable. Tucker Knight, you haven't heard a fucking word about where Tucker Knight is and why they got rid of Tucker Knight. That's exactly what's going to happen to him. I don't like that. Why trade two and only get one? I don't get it. WWE could have a great tag team division if they just put forth the fucking effort to do right by it. And here they are wanting to take one of their more popular teams and one of the best teams in the industry right now, take them and break them up. For what? You have no other fucking tag teams beside the Usos and the New Day. You got nobody else that you care to push. Nobody. You got the Brawling Brutes. You got Los Lotharios. You got the Alpha Academy. You got a possible Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn team. You got teams. You got the Viking Raiders just came back and got completely repackaged. You have teams, but they do nothing with them. Judgment Day's another one. You paired Finn Balor and Damian Priest together. They could be a tag team. The Brawling Brutes could have the Freebird rule. They could use that and just do exactly what the New Day do. We could see a series of tag teams come out of the Brawling Brutes. They don't care. I hate it. I hate the fact that tag team wrestling is dead. Meanwhile, they gave you probably the best match of the entire WWE calendar year so far in the Usos and Street Profits at Money in the Bank, and they don't care for tag team wrestling. It still draws. It still garners excitement and interest, and they put no effort into building their division. I hate it. But that doesn't mean because you hate tag team wrestling that you got to break up the Street Profits and leave Angelo Dawkins to fucking suffer by himself, ultimately getting released, because we all know that's exactly what's going to happen. I don't like it. I like that this match is happening, but this could be the last tag team match if rumors are right. And the tease is, I guess, built upon at SummerSlam. This could be legitimately one of the last times we see the Street Profits together as a tag team. Vince McMahon. This is the big story for today. Vince McMahon paid $12 million to 4 women to suppress sexual misconduct allegations and infidelity, including an ex-WWE superstar. The Wall Street Journal dropped a bombshell this afternoon and posted another story on Vince McMahon, and this one alleges that McMahon paid $12 million in hush money to 4 women in the past 16 years to suppress allegations of sexual misconduct and infidelity. This amount is a lot more than was previously known. And if you guys remember the article that we heard about with the first one, the first bombshell being released, we heard the number of $3 million and then an additional $1 million in, wages for that secretary or that paralegal that he paid and gave a raise to. Everybody was wondering if it came out of his own pocket. It was reported it was not out of his own pocket, or it was out of his own pocket, and it wasn't out of the company funds. It all was funded by Vince McMahon personally. So that's what the big, aspect, the big fruit hanging from the tree was. Is this out of Vince McMahon's pocket, or was this company money? And it was reported that it was out of Vince McMahon's own personal funds. Now, where does this money come from? Is this out of Vince McMahon's own personal funds, or is this company money? That's what the investigation is now going to go on and try and uncover. What I find funny is that it's a round number, like 12 million. So clearly, from what I gather here, $3 million is the going rate to have sex with Vince McMahon. Is that the going rate for Vince McMahon in a night out on the town with Vince McMahon? Is that what Vince McMahon thinks he's worth? Is that the going rates for pimp Vince McMahon? Ladies and gentlemen, you could have your own very special sexual entourage Here with Vince McMahon, you could have your own sexual night out on the town with Vince McMahon. Inside the WWE headquarters, we have the ambiance of the Tyrannosaurus Rex head. You have the big, round office board table in which he can do whichever you desire. He even gives the sound effects of, "This is good shit, pal," and "You're fired." You get the entire Vince McMahon package for the low, low premium price of $3 million per appearance. That's exactly what the Vince McMahon going rate is, I guess. $3 million to have a night out on the town with Vince McMahon. Wall Street Journal reports that the payouts went to women formerly affiliated with WWE, and they are all signed agreements, and they prevented them from discussing potential legal claims or their relationships with him. The story notes that there was even a $7.5 million pact with a former wrestler that alleged Vince McMahon coerced her into giving him oral sex and then demoted her and declined to renew her contract in 2005 after she resisted more sexual encounters. Wall Street Journal reports that the wrestler and her attorney approached McMahon in 2018 to negotiate a payment in return for her silence. Wall Street Journal also reports that a WWE contractor presented the company with unsolicited nude photos of Vince McMahon that she reportedly received from him, and McMahon agreed to pay $1 million to this person. I don't want to see nudes or even think about nudes in regards to Vince McMahon. That's got to be one of the most disgusting things you could possibly ever envision, with Vince McMahon nudes floating around out there. The Wall Street Journal, like I said, previously reported about a $3 million hush pact reached in January between McMahon and a former paralegal with whom he allegedly had an affair with. This is being investigated by WWE's board of directors, along with claims of Johnny Laurinaitis having a relationship with the same paralegal. In addition to that, the board is looking into a claim that there was a $1.5 million non-disclosure agreement reached in 2012 with an employee that made misconduct claims about John Laurinaitis. Laurinaitis is currently on leave during the board's investigation and has not been seen backstage since the initial story broke. McMahon temporarily stepped back as CEO, but has been backstage at shows. He's appeared on camera 3 different times, with the initial allegation being reported several weeks ago. Stephanie McMahon stepped in to be interim CEO in this investigation as it proceeds. Wall Street Journal could not determine if the board was investigating the additional allegations reported today. Wall Street Journal noted that neither attorney for Laurinaitis or McMahon have responded to requests for comment. Now, in response, PW Insider reports that WWE issued a statement to staff commenting that they are taking these claims very seriously and will continue to cooperate with the investigation by the board of directors. They say, and I quote, in an official statement, "The Wall Street Journal has published a second story with expanded details on its initial WWE report last month. We want to reiterate that we and our board of directors take these allegations very seriously. We've been cooperating fully with the investigation led by our board of directors and will continue to do so until its conclusion. Please note that upon its conclusion, WWE leadership will make itself available to answer any questions you may have." End quote. Fightful Select then reported also, after all of this came out, that they were contacted by multiple WWE staff, including some who had remained quiet in the past about McMahon's handling of this situation. One person said they wished they'd spoken out sooner and noted McMahon's response would often go from no selling the whole thing to being defiant. This person said that after McMahon's pointless June 17 appearance on SmackDown, that was legitimately the day it all broke, he returned to the gorilla position after appearing on TV, walked through gorilla position, and shouted, "Fuck him," seemingly in response to the allegations that caused his insistence to appear on television. Also, per Fightful, McMahon's behavior was heavily rumored amongst the writing team, though Fightful wasn't told if elements of coercion and NDAs were well known. A former writer said that McMahon's relationships would be a half-joking excuse as to why he'd be late to meetings before television. So I guess now we know why he was late or he didn't show up on time for all those times that you read that the script was ripped up and yada, yada, yada. McMahon wasn't there, or he arrived late, or he wasn't there completely. Everything is kind of leading back to this situation with Vince McMahon. So everyone at Fightful also reported this. Fightful spoke to several others in regards to John Laurinaitis, and everyone in the company believes that John Laurinaitis is done with WWE. But they believe he has a golden parachute deal with the company that will likely take care of him from this point on. Female talent spoke to Fightful last year following his promotion back to talent relations, expressing their frustration. One WWE higher-up told Fightful that Johnny Ace's 9th life is about to be lost. McMahon has appeared on 3 episodes of Raw and SmackDown since the first scandal broke and made a rare public appearance at UFC 276. He is slated to be backstage creatively running the show at tonight's SmackDown on Friday night. It's funny, man. I read this article about Fightful saying that he returned to Gorilla and shouted, "Fuck him," after the June 17th appearance. And me and everybody else in the community were laughing at how lame he looked and how ridiculous he came off and how it was just thrown in your face. They didn't have him go out and say anything. Stephanie McMahon is taking over. I'm stepping back. Nothing along those lines. That's all I wanted. Nothing would be new information. We know that Stephanie McMahon was appointed interim CEO. He should have came out and said something along those lines. He came out and shilled Then, Now, Forever together and smiled and skipped, and he was made into a GIF on social media that went viral the very next day. So we have him going back to Gorilla and yelling defiantly, "Fuck him." What does "fuck him" mean? What does that mean? Underneath the "fuck him," what does it mean? It means that he went out there to pretty much tell everybody, me, you, and everybody else that don't want him there, that he is still the man and he is still in charge, and he wanted you to know that. That's all it was. It was nothing more than, hey, look at Vince McMahon and how defiant he is and how he's still in charge and how he's still the boss and how big his grapefruits are. That's exactly what it was. Disgusting. Disgusting. I don't have any other information on this. This is what has been reported up to date at this current time. I can't wait. I swear to God, I can't wait till Vince McMahon is fired from WWE. If it happens, some people believe that he will get away with this scot-free and he will be back in charge and he'll be worse than ever. He'll be a bigger monster for it and take it out on us, because everybody that wanted his demise and wants his demise, he's going to make our lives and our viewing habits a lot worse. I can't wait until possibly he is forced to resign, and everybody that is on his team will then wither away and die, because without him there, then they ain't doing much of anything. Not with Stephanie McMahon and Triple H in charge. I'll tell you that right now. I can't wait till the day comes that this man resigns and is no longer affiliated with WWE in any way, shape, or form. He should not be there, period. He should not be in charge of creative. He should not be in the position that he's in right now to still operate this entire company with the team that he has assembled, acting as if nothing is going on and he's not under fire. It's a bad, bad look. The locker room doesn't like it. The locker room now has to deal with Bruce Pritchard because Vince McMahon appointed Bruce Pritchard to take John Laurinaitis' position as head of talent relations. Nobody's okay with that decision. They didn't want Johnny, but they don't want Bruce either. The power of Vince McMahon is still heavily present backstage, no matter what situation he's going in or going through, and no matter if he's stepped back as interim CEO. The power in WWE has not changed. And I don't know if it's a possibility that he could be forced out of the company and forced to step down for good in WWE. He owns 80% of the controlling stocks in the company. Good luck getting rid of Vince McMahon. If there's anything Yes, he comes off like a fucking sexual deviant. He comes off like a scumbag. He comes off as, oh my God, look at me. I'm all so powerful, but I could get away with fucking sexual misconduct and having affairs and fucking paying everybody off, right? We could joke about $3 million here, $3 million there. But at the end of the day, who is going to get rid of him? What I want to know is, who is the whistleblower here? This is something that we talked about earlier when we went live with the first initial story that broke back a couple of weeks ago. Who's the whistleblower? There's only 3 fucking people that it could be. Stephanie, his own daughter. Could it be Triple H, Paul Levesque? Or is it Nick Khan? If I was a betting man, I'm putting my money on Nick Khan. I think Nick Khan wants all of the McMahons out of power. I don't know how he's going to go and do it, but I think Nick Khan is the one leaking. Somebody fucking knows something. Somebody knows something. Wall Street Journal is getting this information from someone on the board of directors. Who is that? I'm putting my money on Nick Khan, man. That's what I'm doing. This is a fucked up situation. McMahon needs to be gone in every aspect of WWE. The company will be better off for it. The entire company, it may suffer a little bit because I know those shareholders and those stockholders, they don't trust anybody but Vince McMahon. You remove Vince McMahon from the board of directors and you get rid of all of his power. There's going to be a little bit where the stock is going to suffer because all they've known forever is their trust in Vince McMahon. All they've known is Vince McMahon. You put somebody else in there to lead the company, there's going to be uncertainty. The stock is going to suffer. But I do think at the end of all of that, it will bounce back because it's World Wrestling Entertainment. At the end of the day, no matter who's running it, it's still going to be in the hands of the McMahons. But I know Nick Khan. Nick Khan has wanted to sell this company, put the company in a position where he sells the company for mega money, is in control, sells it to Disney, sells it to fucking whomever, NBC, Universal, Fox, whoever is willing to pay the amount of money that he's requesting for the sale of WWE. But at the end of the day, Vince McMahon ain't going anywhere right now. We can sit here and wish and pray for his demise. He's not going anywhere. I wish the company would be better off for it. Every aspect of the company would be so much better off for it. You have to believe podcasts like mine. And when we say that, it's something that carries a lot of weight. We know the current WWE television product is not in a good state right now. And that's because of Vince McMahon. If he was removed from creative, I guarantee you, or his power was decreased where he wasn't in charge of creative anymore, I guarantee you'd see a serious change on a week-to-week basis. I will keep you guys updated on this, but this does not look good for Vince McMahon, and this could be something that, what don't we know? That's what I want to know. What don't we know? We know what we know now because of the Wall Street Journal. What else is out there that we don't know? And we know Vince McMahon is this way. He's been doing it all his fucking life, all his career. The genetic jackhammer and the character that we've seen on television, it is now more true than ever before. You go back and watch how he's acted on television in the Attitude Era. It is now apparent that everything legitimately was based on his real life persona. And that's what's fucking scary. We knew exactly what this man was capable of and how this man was. Every CEO, every man with power that's running a major multi-billion-dollar company is the same way. They feel like they're on top of the world. They feel like they're God. I hope in this case, when everything is uncovered, that he gets exactly what's coming to him and he pays the ultimate punishment. I really do. Because you, me, and everybody else that watches this on a weekly basis will be better off for it. Guys, I'm getting out of here. I will be live tonight for Friday Night SmackDown. Any more news, I will talk about it on Friday's live stream. After AEW Rampage, we'll talk about SmackDown and Rampage tonight from the OTS Beer Garden. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. And please hit that thumbs up. 1,000 likes on today's OTS Extra. Until then, guys, I'll see you live from the Beer Garden tonight live for SmackDown on Off the Script. I'll see you guys later.